Well, first up today, how to win friends and influence people if you're a Minister of the Crown here in Western Australia. It appears that one such minister has taken the art of diplomacy to new depths and as a result is facing calls to hand in his resignation. Now, I'll let you decide whether you think that that's a legitimate response to what's happened, but let's take a look at the background to this. Up in the Kimberley, there's been a bit of controversy swirling around the town of Broome. This time not over a tourism-related issue, but the dilemma over where to build a new regional prison. Now, the Shire of Broome has not been happy with what they say has been a lack of communication from the state government. And the Shire President, Harold Tracy, said exactly that publicly. President Tracy suggested that consultation had been less than ideal. And that's when the Minister for Corrective Services, Bill Johnston, decided to hit back. Minister Johnston implied the Shire President didn't really care and didn't bother to meet with his department, the Department of Justice, because Harold Tracy had been too busy fishing. Except the problem for the minister was that the Shire President was in fact on extended leave to care for his wife, who was having cancer treatment in Perth. Long way from fishing. Harold Tracy, good morning.
Good morning, Liam. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks for having a chat to us, Harold. You hadn't gone fishing at all.
No, look, I wish the circumstances were that I was out fishing. I can tell you right now, but no, certainly not.
Harold, before we go any further, how is your wife going?
My wife's going great, thanks for asking. And yeah, we're back home in Broome enjoying the warm weather and the sunshine. So yeah, going very well.
Good on you. What offends you the most about the minister's public comments, Harold?
Oh, look, it's probably, we had a public meeting the night before, and the minister was, found to be, to me, was ill-informed on a lot of issues that, in regards to the location of this prisons, and was called out a few times. And probably what offends me, I've had worse things said to me over the years. I don't mind people having a personal attack on myself, but what offends me more is the fact that the end of was that I refused to meet with him, and then to add that I was out fishing when we all know I wasn't. So that was offensive, and it was not only offensive towards me, but my family. I've lived in Broome all my life, and my family live here. My brothers, sisters, kids, and they hear this on the radio, and it's distressing to them. But I really don't want to take the focus away from the fact that I was at that meeting because of, and the reasons you gave earlier about the choice of the location for this regional prison. Well,
it made you sound as though you couldn't care less.
Well, it did, and some of his comments the evening before were also that he didn't have to deal with me as his local government Shire President, that he would deal with my staff, and that I had a poor understanding of local government, were his words that night. But it was just an extension of the arrogance shown the evening before, I believe. And, it's not something. We have a fantastic relationship with the state. I must make that really clear. And we have had for the last 4.5 years. But behaviour like that doesn't do much, and particularly around a sensitive issue in a portfolio of justice and corrections.
How do you explain it? I mean, did you ever refuse to attend a meeting, Harold, or did you tell anyone that you couldn't attend one?
No, not at all, Liam. We, in fact, we never had a request for a meeting when the minister was up in May after the election. We didn't get a request from the minister to meet with us at all. And I can tell you right now, we have a perfectly capable, fantastic deputy president. If I was out fishing, that could have taken the meeting. So it's just not true at all, and very disappointing.
I wonder why he's chosen to portray you like that publicly.
Well, look, it's probably something. This issue goes back to 2019, been handled very badly. There has been no public consultation, and more importantly, no consultation. We have invited the department to talk with us about offering alternative sites for this since 2019. It's been made very clear that the decision was being made between government and our local native title holders, and we didn't get a look in, unfortunately. So. Look, I think what the minister probably thought, that he was going to come up here and have a public meeting, and it was going to be, my way or the highway, and everyone was going to take everything on board that he said, and that would be the end of the matter. But I really think he got embarrassed at that meeting, and his attitude at that meeting, and his willingness, or he was unwilling to listen to anybody else, and I think he was very embarrassed and found to be wanting with information that is being fed up from his department.
What, and because he was embarrassed, he struck out at you?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I've met Mr. Johnson twice in my life, so I'm not sure if that's the way that he conducts himself generally. I wouldn't have any idea. And I must add that Mr. Johnson did ring me last evening to apologise. So,
last night?
And, yeah, at 8:30 last night. Apparently, he was. I understand he was up down in Onslow somewhere out of phone contact. So
right. And what did he say?
Yeah. Well, he just said, "Look, it's Bill. I apologise. However, the information I got was wrong from my department. So call it what you like, an apology, I suppose, with conditions to it."
So he told you that he's sorry, but it was his department's fault.
Well, he's sorry, but the information that I was out fishing was given to someone from his department, and I was actually I don't understand why he would have brought up the fact that or said something as trivial as I was out fishing, just to.
Do you accept that, Harold, or would you still like to see him resign?
Oh, look, I put it this way, Liam. I've been in business for 30 odd years, and if I had someone working for me that conducted himself like that, I would seriously ask them to consider their future in that portfolio. I suppose I've got to accept the apology because that's all I've got, I suppose. But once again, I say I don't want to shift the focus away from the shortfalls of this process in delivering this prison that we do need in the Kimberley. Do we need it in the West Kimberley when we already have one? Unlikely. But anyway,
I get it. I get it. You're still angry about the lack of consultation.
I am, and it's very disappointing because the state has not conducted himself that way in any other issue with us over the last 4.5 years. And I've got a fantastic relationship with all ministers, and that's what probably disappoints us all the most. Is that I think the state has been fantastic for Broome over the last 4.5 years, and
all right,
this was very disappointing. Yeah.
Harold, thank you very much for having a chat to us. Just hold the bus there for a second. Harold, that's Harold Tracy, the Shire of Broome President. The Minister, Bill Johnston, WA Corrective Services Minister, joins us on the program this morning. Minister, good morning to you.
G'day, Liam. How you going?
I'm okay. How did you manage to get that so wrong, telling the public that he'd gone fishing when he was with his wife who was having cancer treatment?
Yes, as what I said on Wednesday was incorrect, and so of course I've apologised. What I said was based on information given to me. When I was told it was incorrect, I immediately acted to correct the record.
Who was it given to you by, Minister?
I understand there's been a statement released by the Department of Justice that explains the circumstance in which I was told by an official of the department.
So one of the departmental officials gave you that information and you used it?
Yes, but Liam, I accept that I was the one who made the error, and that's why I've fronted up and apologised because I said something incorrect. I've taken the opportunity as soon as I was able to, I corrected the record and I fronted up to apologise. Yes,
well, under the Westminster system, you're supposed to take the rap, aren't you?
That's correct. I'm not here to try and push the blame onto others. I was the one who said the wrong thing. That's why I've accepted my responsibility.
It's a pretty low act, though, isn't it, Minister, criticising a bloke who is helping his wife through cancer?
It's distressing to me when I found out the true circumstance, and that's why I've apologised.
Is that it? Is that where it stops? The obvious question is, will you resign?
Well, look, I understand that Mr. Tracy has accepted my apology, and I'm distressed that I've caused him offence. It was never my intention to cause him offence in these circumstances. I was given information that was incorrect. I used the first opportunity to correct the record and apologise.
This is the problem, though, isn't it, with personality politics when you play the man rather than the issue?
That's up to you to say. What I'm saying is that I've fronted up and accepted my responsibilities and apologised.
But the point is, you didn't do your research before you criticised the president, Shire president.
Well, as I say, I was given information which proved to be wrong. When I found out the information was wrong, I used the first opportunity to correct the record, and I apologised.
But it's about the language, isn't it, Minister? It's the language that you used, clearly.
Well, as I say, I'm not quite sure what you meant, what further you want me to say, but as I've explained, it's quite embarrassing to me, but I'm here to apologise and correct the record.
Yes. But I guess where I'm coming from is, if you use that sort of flippancy, that cheap shot, whether you get it from your departmental official or not, do you think that's a byproduct of your government having so much power to the extent where you really couldn't care less?
Well, I mean, in the circumstance, Liam, I visited the affected residents in Broome. I've tried to listen to their reasonable issues, and those include potential light pollution, noise emissions, security concerns, odour issues, and the setback from the prison to the residents. They're all perfectly reasonable issues, and I'm trying to address those. At the meeting, there were also two other sites suggested. One of those is the future airport site. I've told people that I don't believe that's going to be a likely option because I don't think the owners of the site would let us use it for a present. But we've got the department off investigating that. The other potential site is then the industrial land owned by the council. Again, we're not certain that that land is suitable for a prison, but again, I've directed the department to go and examine that. If it is to be the NBY land, well, then we can only place the prison on the NBY land where the owners of the land allow us to. They gave us three options initially when several years ago. They gave us three options. Unfortunately, they ruled out one of those options. They left us two other options. The option that I've selected of the two that are available from the NBY is the one most distant from the residents. Now, I understand the 12 mile residents are not satisfied with that site, but given that I don't own the land, it's the land belongs to the NBY, I can only site the prison where I can get the consent of the landowner. Now, as I say, there are perfectly reasonable issues raised by the residents, and we're attempting, if the NBY site is the one we choose, to make sure those reasonable issues are dealt with as best we can.
So you accept, really, the bottom line is you accept that up until now the community consultation hasn't been that great?
Well, what I accept is that I went and met with all the residents myself personally on Tuesday night, and that I gave an undertaking in the meeting to write to all of them with further information, and we've agreed that I'll meet again with them in person or via Zoom because it's, just because of the Parliament resuming, it's unlikely I'm going to have the ability to spend another night in Broome in the next couple of weeks.
Yes.
But one way or another that I will report back to them directly.
There's obviously still a bit left to go in that argument. Minister, let me just ask you this finally. Would you have thought twice about using that sort of language if Harold Tracy had been a property developer instead of a Shire president?
Well, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that.
I think you do.
I'm sorry that I don't. I apologise to Mr. Tracy. I rang him last night when I got back from Onslow. It was the first thing I did when I got back from Onslow. I accept that it would be very hurtful to what occurred. I apologise for that. It only occurred because I was given wrong information. But of course, it was still me, and I'm not trying to blame others for my behaviour.
Well, if you won't resign, are you going to sack the department employee who gave you that false information?
Look, public servants work hard and do an important job. Everybody makes mistakes sometimes, and I accept that this person provided me information that they believe to be true.
But they're not there to feed you a dirt file on Shire presidents, to give you information like he's gone fishing, get stuck into him on this point, Minister. That's not their job, surely. Look,
again, public servants do an important job on behalf of the community. Without an effective public service, society doesn't function.
Minister, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much for fronting up and explaining it to our listeners.
Thank you, Liam.
Bill Johnston. He's the Corrective Services Minister here in WA. What do you think? Is it a sackable offence? Is it an offence that he should resign over the way he's treated the Shire President, Harold Tracy? Or should it go further? Has Bill Johnston sucked it up, delivered the apology, and now should somebody at the Department of Justice have to pay the price? Does anybody pay the price, or we just leave it? We just play personality politics all the way along the line in these things, in any of these issues that happen in any jurisdiction in the state. I find that interesting. Comments from the Minister. We do need a strong public service, and public servants have a very important role in these cases. But is it their role to feed the Minister, in this case, misinformation, that somebody who obviously is a rival in this argument has gone fishing, when indeed he hasn't gone fishing? He's in Perth helping his wife get through cancer treatment. Is that the role of a public servant? If you think that's the way things should roll, give us a call. 133 882 is our talkback number. 133 882. 24 minutes past 9. We'll come back in a moment.